Support for this episode of PBS Reno Arts is provided by the Nevada Arts Council. Arts and creativity make us stronger, fueling innovation, prosperity, and thriving communities across Nevada. They boost our economy, promote well-being, and enhance education, empowering Nevadans of all ages. The Nevada Arts Council nurtures these essential creative forces. Together, let's elevate the arts in every corner of our great state. More at nvartscouncil.org. This is PBS Reno Arts. I'm Dave Santina from the studio at PBS Reno in Reno, Nevada. And I have a special guest with me today, someone who I have crossed paths with many times over the years, Rosine Bena from Sierra Nevada Ballet, who is coming in here to talk a little bit about a number of things, specifically a special event that's coming up that we want you to all know about. Thank you for coming in and giving some time.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have you in. It's been, we've seen each other over the years in different events that we've worked where your performances were happening and we were covering it or doing documentary work or creating other kinds of stories. So I always enjoy talking to you. And I also appreciate that you are a contributing writer to Art Views, which if you haven't read and you're listening to this, please go to pbsreno.org and read Rosine's Art Views columns because they are really beautifully done. And you talk about the Sierra Nevada Ballet, but you also talk about the arts in general. And your insight over your career gives you an angle into this that not everybody has. So it's much appreciated, and I think everybody should read it.
Well, thank you. It's really a pleasure to have that column. I'm so grateful to do it because, you can't get the word out there very often, and also it gives you a chance to be personal with your audience, and it's a great experience.
Nice. Well, I do appreciate it, and I talking before we recorded, you had also mentioned that you've had people mention to you that they have read your columns, and that's got to feel good.
Oh, it's great. In fact, when I was walking my dog, a lady stopped me and she said, I read your column all the time. I felt so great.
I love that. That's fantastic. Well, and I would love it if that lady comes to you down the road and says, "Hey, I heard you on that podcast the other day." That would make me very happy to know that people are getting the word from you through this medium as well. One of the reasons that you're here is also to talk about your upcoming event. You've got a couple of weekends back to back with the same event in different locations as a fundraiser, a special event for Sierra Nevada Ballet, and this is a big one.
Yeah, Brew, Brats Ballet, and it's on March 15th and 21st and 22nd, but on two different venues. They're both very intimate, wonderful venues, the Brewery Arts Center in Carson City and Reno Little Theater. Nice.
I have been to both. I think they're both really nice spaces. So what happens at Brew, Brats, and Ballet? I got to say, I love the name. I'm engaged already just from Brew and Brats, and then you throw in a performance. How great. That sounds fantastic.
Well, we did that because, a lot of people, when they see ballet or the word ballet, they go, "Oh, I don't understand this. It's too highbrow for me." Right. And so it really isn't, because there's no translation as far as language goes. Everybody can understand. They just don't know it. And so one of the things we sought to do would be to have a casual atmosphere. And we were thinking, what do people like at a football game? You got
Sure.
a hot dog, you got a beer. So that's what we decided to do. And we wanted to do it at the little venues because then we could interact with the audience. So what we usually do is have the choreographers talk first about their piece, and then you see the piece. And then at the end of the program, we have a talk back with the audience. And it's been so wonderful. And it seems like we get many more people interested in ballet through doing this program.
I believe it. I mean, immediately I think about all the times in life when I've had an introduction to an experience from the expert or the person who's sharing it, and then I enjoy it so much more because I have a greater depth of understanding. I've seen that happen with philharmonic performances or orchestral performances where I have been introduced to the intent of the composer, and then the music has more meaning to me because I'm imagining what that composer was thinking at the time, whereas I would have no idea otherwise. Same thing with dance, right? You've got performers who, if I don't understand what the movements mean necessarily. I can still enjoy it, but it's more profound if I've been introduced to the backstory and the sort of foundation behind that performance. So I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, we started to do that because when we were performing like at Art Town at Wingfield Park, or when we were performing at Sand Harbor, the audience was seeing us warm up, and so because that's what we usually do behind the scenes. So then I started to talk to them about the warm-up and what we did. And people then started coming early so they could see the warm-up. And people started giving me feedback that it's really great to understand what's going on. And then I always do an introduction, and sometimes like in the story ballets, there's a lot of mime, and I show the mime and say what it means. And that has really translated great as far as the audience coming back to me and saying, hey, I really liked that because I really know what's going on. So that's where we decided to do Brew, Brats Ballet and started out our first one. And it was such a good event, and people came back with how much they liked it that we decided to do it as an annual thing every year.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And this year, people have 3 opportunities to participate. You've got March 15th in Carson City at the Brewery Arts, and then the next weekend, the 21st and the 22nd at Reno Little Theater. So that's wonderful. It gives people more opportunities. How has it had been over the years? Have you seen a growth in attendance over the years?
Yes, we have. And we've had people come say, you hooked me on ballet with this. I mean, that was what I really loved.
That's the dream, right?
Yeah, that really is. This year it's going to be a little different. Usually we have like about 9 choreographers do short works and talk about it. This year, the dancers and the associate artistic director decided they were going to do a tribute to me and do a celebration of my choreography. And I've been choreographing for 51 years, so that's a lot of years to choose from.
Yeah, but what an incredible tribute to you, and what an honor. That's got to feel good, I'm sure.
It feels great. And also, because I've done about 140 different works.
Oof.
To look back and see some of those things, which I had to watch on VCR because, I mean, in those days you didn't have all the things you have now. That's what you had, VCR.
So are you looking back at your old work in order to incorporate some of it into these performances? Is that what it's about?
We're doing the exact work.
Oh, fantastic.
That I created. I think the oldest one we're doing. The earliest one we're doing I did in 1979.
Oh my! So how did that videotape look when you pulled it out?
It's hysterical because I had to have like a microscope to see everything, but because the VCRs were not what they
right.
It wasn't like it is today. But it's been very interesting to see the work and to remember what I thought and where it came from and the dancers that were originally in it. In fact, I actually contacted a couple of dancers in the work in 1979, the original ones, and they may come.
Oh, how great would that be?
I know, that would be so fun. That would be so fun to see that, yeah.
Do you see a development or a kind of an evolution of your style when you look back over the years? Do you see changes and do you remember what motivated them?
Yeah, I do. As a matter of fact, I mean, the one which is called GSNR, which is Gavotte, Sarabande, and Regaudon with the music of Grieg. That one, I started as just a pas de trois, a dance for 3 people, because we had some dancers that were in our company that were not as strong as others, but were good. And so I thought, let's do something special for them. And so it started out a small thing, and then it was such a hit that we decided, okay, well, let's add some more. And so then I added three movements. And I do remember that. I remember the original cast. I remember why I did it. I remember working on it. And it was really, it's fun to go back and see that.
How fun. Yeah. And then I just probably, let me ask this. Were there any things that you look back at now and you cringe a little and think, oh, I could have done that better?
Oh, lots. Absolutely lots. As a matter of fact, my my daughter, who's the associate artistic director, she had some favorites because when she grew up, she saw some of my work from when she was a little girl. And so together we decided, I think we picked 15, because we couldn't watch 140 works, but we picked 15, and then from there we narrowed it down. And actually, we're using 4 of my works. She's also got 2 works on the program, and Alexander Biber has 1 work on the program. So it's not only my work, but it's all different. It's very, very different. So there basically is not anything that you would consider a tutu kind of classical ballet on this program.
So not your Swan Lake style.
No, not at all. GSNR is kind of neoclassic, and then one of my favorite works that I did was Gershwin. I don't know if you know the Gershwin Concerto, George Gershwin's Concerto. It's terrific music, and I did a ballet to that. And the first work on the program is the Gershwin Allegro, and the closing work on the program is the Gershwin Agitato. So it's George Gershwin, and I think everybody loves Gershwin. So that's a real winner.
That sounds like fun. So, and will the program be the same for each of the 3 days in March?
Yes, except that we decided to invite Western Nevada Performing Arts Center to also do one piece on the 21st and 22nd. They can't do the 15th, so that there will be an extra thing. But all the works are pretty short. So
I see. So, that's a good question. I was going to ask, what's somebody who buys a ticket to come and support, what should they expect in terms of the length of the show overall?
The length of the show will probably be about an hour to an hour and a half. I think it's more like an hour.
Okay.
We have an intermission, though, so people can have the brats and the brew.
Yes.
But also, it is a fundraiser, and that's one thing I would like to share with the audience is that it's a moving thing for me because our company did renovations to our new facility, which is incredible, state of the art. It turned out amazing, but the estimate was like $150,000, and the actual cost of the renovations was like over $300,000. So we used up most of the money that we had in our savings, and and so I said, well, I said to the dancers, we're not going to be able to do Brew, Brats, and Ballet this year because we always pay our dancers. We have for 24 years, we've always paid our dancers. I have not gotten paid, but they have always, because that's an important...
The story of a number of nonprofits, right?
Exactly. But they have always been paid, and I said, we just don't have it. We just don't have the money to pay anybody. And the dancers themselves said, well, we'll work for nothing because we want to do Brew, Brats, and Ballet, and we want the company to survive. And then they had the idea of making it a fundraiser. So they're all going to their favorite businesses and having people donate things, and they're going to make baskets, and so it's turned out to be a fundraiser.
Wow, well, that is moving. I mean, how touching that they care enough about what they're doing, and it means enough to them that they're not worried about getting paid themselves. They want to support the organization and help sort of fund the future. That means a lot.
Yes, it does. I was very touched, because I was all set to say, well, we can't do this time, and they said, oh, yes, we can.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it was very, and also when they said, well, okay, and we're going to go out and, to businesses, that's like a lot to ask.
Yeah, that's they're walking the streets, they're stumping for support. Yes. That's incredible.
Yeah.
This is a time when we're all very sensitive about where funding comes from for the arts, and for, I'm on the public media side. It's a big story right now.
It is.
So to see sort of that, I guess you'd say, grassroots support, where the dancers themselves are saying, we're going to go do it. We're not going to wait for somebody else. I think that's incredible. I really appreciate that. And now I'm rooting for it to be the best year you've ever had.
Well, it's fun to also with the dancers because a lot of them, because they're young, and a lot of them didn't never saw my work that I did in the 1979.
Right.
And in the Gershwin, I think it was 2005. So a lot of them didn't see that either. And so it's interesting to for them to experience, because they work with me now in my newer works, but they didn't know about the past. And I had, some of them are just having the best time, and they said this is one of the most fun performances we're going to have. And I thought, wow, that's very complimentary.
Oh, wow.
I felt really good about it.
Well, your work crosses the generations.
Yep.
That's fantastic. Well, isn't that the point of dance in some ways, right? It's a universal, somewhat universal language, so people any age and any time can appreciate it.
And also it's passed down from generation to generation, from a person to a person, which is real important. My parents were both ballet dancers, and they passed their art to me, and then I passed it to my daughter, and maybe she'll even pass it to her son. He's only 2.5, so we don't know.
It's never too early.
No,
Get him out there. Get him a tiny pair of tights and get him out there. That's great. Well, you were. I think earlier I heard you talking to somebody in the hallway, and you said, "Yeah, you were born to do it."
Yes.
Your parents both being dancers. It was the way was paved for you, right? But you still have to enjoy it and feel motivated to do the work. And it's so much harder work than people know.
Oh, it's really difficult. In fact, I was a professional ballerina with a 28-year stage career, and I traveled all over the world. I danced on opera house stages everywhere. And when I met my husband, he said, well, did you go to this country? And I'd say, yeah. And he'd say, well, what did you see? And I'd say, I saw the inside of the hotel room, and I saw the inside of the opera house. And that's all I saw, because that's the kind of life, because ballet dancers have to train all day long. They rehearse. It's not a glamorous life.
Right. I think that's one of the things about traveling performers, that people assume and are incorrect about. And I hear about that, not just with dancers, but with like stand-up comics who travel the world. Like anybody who's performing from city to city to city, other bands, rock bands, I've heard that a few times from stories. Well, yeah, what'd you think of the city? I don't know. The inside of the hotel was nice. The van was nice. The backstage at the venue was nice. And then it's you go, it's airport or bus.
Yes.
Hotel, venue, hotel, back to the bus or airport, and that was your experience, right? And so it's. And
sometimes I would even get mixed up. Like I remember when I met some fan who took me to dinner, and they said, well, we'll take you back to your hotel. Where is it? And I said, I think I think it's the on this street in the Holiday Inn. And they said, there is no Holiday Inn in that street here. And I went, oh, that was yesterday, and it was like, it was so crazy.
It's a blur.
Yeah, a blur. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the new building. I was going to ask you about that, because that's the last time I remember this story was a big deal. We had been talking about it here as a possible artifact story, just because it was such a pleasant thing to see happen. This arts venue, this state-of-the-art space opening up and being built. Actually, you guys paid for it, and having it be available for people to have just better access and better resources. And so I wanted to follow up on that. Now that it's been not quite a year, how is the venue, finances aside, how's the venue working out for you? Is it what you hoped for?
It definitely is. And, one of the things that our mission is, when I danced, I was a pas de deux person. That means I always preferred to dance with another person. And because collaboration for me was everything. And so our whole mission in Sierra Nevada Ballet is to collaborate with people. And my dream was to make a collaborative organization. And so when we got together with Steinway Piano Gallery, and then the nonprofit is Steinway Music School, and they also had a dream of collaborating, and they are part of our collective. Then we got Sierra School of Performing Arts to join us, and Healthy Performers Nevada. And also, we're opening up to visual artists to show their work and to sell their work. We're going to put some every month. I think it's every 3 months we're putting up new works. So we're made it a collective, and we decided to call ourselves the Northern Nevada Performing Arts Collective. And it's been terrific. It's wonderful to have that kind of energy with everybody together. When we had our grand opening, it was really a surprise, because we had this grand opening where SPA performed, Sierra School of Performing Arts, and the pianists and Sierra Nevada Ballet. And we put it out there, and we thought, okay, we'll have a couple hundred people.
Right.
We had 500 people show up. We were like, oh my gosh, we had to do 3 back-to-back performances because the audience was there. And it was wonderful. And so we're going to do that same kind of thing again, I think either the end of May or early June again, because it was very, very, it was wonderful. In fact, we finished the program with 10 pianos and pianists in a circle, and Sierra Nevada Ballet in the middle dancing. And it was so moving.
That
it was
sounds
just
amazing.
Gorgeous. So we're going to try to do that every year, something every year.
Oh, sounds worthwhile to me. I think that's a great idea. It occurs to me that someone listening might not already be familiar with Sierra Nevada Ballet or all of the services offered in that space. Could you do the elevator introduction so everybody knows?
Well, Sierra Nevada Ballet is the professional company for Northern Nevada. We are made up of dancers, professional dancers, that most of them have danced professionally and are teachers or live in the community. And then we have a school, Sierra Nevada Ballet Academy, for children from ages 3 through adults. And in fact, our adult program, believe it or not, is doing very, very well. We have a lot of adult people who really wanted to dance.
Nice.
And that's headed by Alexander Biber, and it's doing quite well. Then in the same building, we have SPA, Sierra School of Performing Arts, and they perform, I think, 2 productions a year, and they have children and adults, and and they have studio space in there, and they do workshops also. And then we have Healthy Performers Nevada, and that's an incredible organization that does free consultations for performers, because performers historically don't have a lot of money, but if they get hurt, especially dancers, if they get hurt, they're in serious trouble. So they actually see people at the facility also. And then we have a little bit of Satori dancewear where you can buy some dancewear. And then right now we're working with the Artists Co-op, and they're going to put up some visual arts. Before we did the Latimer Artists Club, and now we're doing the Artists Co-op, and then they are going to put up some visual arts for us. So it's really nice.
That's beautiful. So there'll be a little bit of sort of essentially a gallery space?
Yes, there is. Yeah. And we had the Latimer Club, and then they took their stuff down, and now the Co-op is putting up. And people can buy their work there too.
So can anybody come by any day just to look at the art? It's sort of treat it like a museum.
Absolutely.
Okay. I just want to make sure that I'm understanding. I don't want somebody to walk in and interrupt a rehersal. Because they want to look at something on the wall.
No, because we have big studios where we rehearse and perform. And then we have an office space, and then we have the walls, and it's a big building. And then of course Steinway is incredible. They have all these beautiful pianos. And what's really moving is when we're in session and we're doing ballet in one studio, and then you hear across the hall and you hear these beautiful pianists. It's really a moving experience. In fact, some people are calling it the little Juilliard of Reno.
Nice.
Which is really fun.
What a pleasant experience it must be just to walk down the hall and hear all of this coming from every direction. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, when SPA is in session and they're rehearsing, and then we're in session and we're rehearsing, and then there's piano. I mean, the atmosphere is so electrifying. It's like, wow, everything's happening. Art is happening.
Yeah, exciting. So there are going to be parents, grandparents listening. How might somebody get involved if they're interested in perhaps taking a class, or adult or child?
Well, they can come to our facility at 500 East Moana Lane in Reno, or they can call or visit our website. The number to call is 775-360-8663. And we can tell you all about the classes, or you can visit the website, sierranevadaballet.org, and tells about all the things we're doing, our performances, as well as the classes that we offer.
Great. And I suspect they could probably also learn a little bit about this if they came to Brew, Brats, and Ballet.
That's right.
So March 15th, Brewery Arts Center. You can get tickets at breweryarts.org. I saw that on the website. I did a session of research before we talked, so I could know a little bit about it. But same thing with Reno Little Theater. They March 21st and 22nd events at Reno Little Theater. You can get tickets for that at renolittletheater.org. Are those the places, or can they also get tickets through your phone number that you just gave?
No, I think those are the places to go. Also, we are performing as part of Art Town at Bartley Ranch in July, and we're also doing our 12th night at Ballet Noir by Ananda Bena Weber, which is an incredible story ballet. And we're doing that at Pioneer Center, at Carson City Community Center, and at the Lake Tahoe Shakespeare Festival in Sand Harbor.
That's coming up in the summer.
That's coming up in the summer.
Okay, so keep abreast of upcoming shows at the website, right?
Yes.
And then in the immediate moment, consider coming to Brew, Brats, and Ballet and being a supporter, because that event, those 3 days are what helps keep you thinking about the future.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we need all the help we can get after all this investment that we did, because while we could pay for the facility, which we had to pay ourselves because Sierra Nevada Ballet did this, and then we brought the collective together. It's hard to do the productions because we usually had backup money for the production.
Right.
So that's part of why the dancers are all out there trying to get businesses to help us. And we need all the help we can get. We also would love volunteers. If people can't give a financial donation, there's plenty of jobs for everybody. So
yeah, volunteers are a huge part of what we do here at PBS Reno. So I can speak to the value of volunteers. So yeah, if you maybe don't feel like you have extra money to invest, you can give time. And the time is as valuable or more valuable sometimes than the money. So consider that as well. And I think that's a great idea. All right. We'll have to have you come back again later and talk about some of your future programs, because you're never not working.
Yes, that's for sure.
All right. Well, before we go, I want to remind everybody to watch the Artifacts series on PBS Reno. That's via broadcast or streaming on pbsreno.org or the PBS Reno YouTube channel or even the PBS app. Lots of ways to watch Artifacts. Also, read art views columns like the one that Rosine writes at pbsreno.org. Now, if you have a question or maybe a comment or a suggestion, please send them to me at podcasts@pbsreno.org. I want to say thanks again to Rosine Bena, and thank you for listening to PBS Reno Arts. Support for this episode of PBS Reno Arts is provided by the Nevada Arts Council. Arts and creativity make us stronger, fueling innovation, prosperity, and thriving communities across Nevada. They boost our economy, promote well-being, and enhance education, empowering Nevadans of all ages. The Nevada Arts Council nurtures these essential creative forces. Together, let's elevate the arts in every corner of our great state. More at nvartscouncil.org.